everybody, Scott Fuller here with another edition of the Market Insider series, where every week we travel the country looking at different destinations that are popular for Bay Area residents to move to. Today I'm super excited. We're talking with Dan Beer in one of my favorite places, San Diego, California. Dan, how are you today?
Good, man. It's good to be here, and it is a beautiful place, isn't it? But the Bay Area is not so bad either. It's, I think, one of the most beautiful cities in the country for sure.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. Dan, thanks for joining me today. And again, if this is your first time watching one of these webinars, again, we try to cover everything that you would want to know about a city that you're considering moving to, or maybe just taking a visit to. We're going to cover everything from housing, retirement, activities, climate, all that kind of great information. And Dan's going to be a great host for us today. So again, Dan, thanks for joining with me today. Dan, give me kind of your background. Are you originally from San Diego?
So originally, I'm from Mexico City, actually. So
Really?
a lot of people don't realize that. But yeah, I was born in Mexico City. I was only there for about 3 years. The majority of my extended family is still there. But we moved to San Diego when I was just about 3 years old. Been here since, other than my time in college away and a little stint after school where I was in LA, but that only lasted 7 months. And otherwise, yeah, I've had the grand majority of my life here in San Diego. I've also lived in different parts of San Diego. So everything from what we call here the South Bay, which is the area kind of closest to the border and the nearest city up from there, which is Chula Vista, up through the downtown area, and then into now, what we call North County here in San Diego.
Okay.
It had a number of different neighborhoods, and it's been awesome, man. It's really a world-class place to live. It's an incredible lifestyle, and there are cities out there that offer maybe a little more theater or a little more of this, a little more of that, but San Diego has such a wonderful balance of all of the amenities that you'd want in a big time city, but also just a great rhythm of life, a really great lifestyle place.
It's very laid back. I spent quite a few years in Orange County, and I noticed quite a bit of a difference between Orange County and San Diego. It's just a very laid back atmosphere, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really, we call it a big small town, right? And it really is, in essence, a series of small towns that together make up this big 3 million person county. And they all have their own distinct personalities. So whether you're looking for more of a foodie area, metro kind of walkable space where you're going to be walking to everything from restaurants to theater to the Bay and the attraction for the kids, to getting into the suburbs where it's more kind of family oriented and country clubs and
you get a little bit of everything, right?
It has everything. It really does.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, obviously there's a lot of people moving into San Diego, and your team, you guys sell a lot of real estate down there. Your team helps a lot of people move into the area. Where do you see people generally coming from? And are they coming to San Diego for retirement, or are they coming for job opportunities, or what does that look like?
The majority are coming for work, I would say. Few for retirement. I think a lot of our retirees, actually, we lose out to kind of, states such as Idaho, and we're seeing a lot to Arizona. We're seeing a lot to Nevada, people avoiding California taxes. But we are seeing a lot of people moving in, interestingly enough, from the Bay Area, particularly from the San Jose area. We see a lot of San Jose moves to San Diego. And there's a lot of tech work that is moving into San Diego. At the same time, we trade a lot of people to the Bay Area, where we lose people from here to where you are, or sometimes to Seattle. But definitely it's much more business driven. It is also the biotech industry. A lot of people are here for that. And it's great because we continue to see an expansion of our tech industry here in San Diego.
And I definitely will go into a little bit more detail on kind of the diversification of industry and what some of the hot jobs markets and industries are in San Diego. But let's get into a little bit more about housing. So, let's say, for example, if I'm getting a job transfer to San Diego, I'm in tech, and what are some of the areas that I may want to consider? Talk to us about what those price points are and what maybe some areas of consideration are and what they have to offer.
Yeah, so people that are in tech that moving to San Diego, we're going to see them mainly moving to a couple of different areas. Also, not by any coincidence, kind of located near where a lot of the tech companies are. So one of the prime areas we'll see them move to is Carmel Valley, or another area called Forest Ranch, Del Sur, this kind of the whole 56 corridor. And I can give you an idea for what real estate looks like there if that would be helpful.
Yeah.
But that would be an area where a lot of folks that are coming in for tech jobs, but they also might have young families. They might be interested in schools. These are the best school districts in the county, and so that drives a lot of kind of people that have some higher paying jobs that are most interested in making sure that the kids are taken care of. A lot of them are going to gravitate toward all the neighborhoods across the 56 corridor, and that's just Highway 56. We refer to it as the 56.
Got it. Okay.
Spans a few different neighborhoods. So you want to take a look at what that might look like?
Yeah, pull it up so we kind of get a visual of where this area is located at in proximity to downtown.
Well, so here, let me just share my screen with you. All right, so here we have a map of San Diego County, and again, you're going to have it start right here at the border. Okay, this is the border of Mexico with the United States. This is Tijuana. This is San Diego. And it expands all the way up here north to Oceanside. After Oceanside, you have this dead area, which is a military base.
Yeah.
And this is called Camp Pendleton. And Camp Pendleton divides or separates San Diego County from Orange County, which is here north of Camp Pendleton. Something really unique about San Diego that really does protect our real estate values, and it's one of the things that makes San Diego such a steady market. Not that it doesn't have its ups and downs and what we saw in 2008, 2009, but so quickly recovered and so strongly recovered is our limited real estate. So we're in this environment where to the south we have Mexico, so we can't grow south.
Yeah.
To the west we have the ocean. North we have the huge military base, Camp Pendleton. And to the east, harder to see on this map, but if I get to the satellite view, let's see if we can see it there. Yeah, see to the east, you see these massive mountains.
Right.
And so we have these gigantic mountain ranges. Oops, excuse me, there I'm actually in Mexico there. But here we go. This is San Diego. So to the east, we have these mountains, and then finally the desert. And so San Diego really is right in this pocket here that I'm covering with my mouse, which again limited supply in terms of land. It makes development.
Sure. Because you're either in San Diego or you're going east into the desert, right?
Yeah, so that's one of the biggest protections as a real estate market we have, and why we have one of the best performing markets for decades. Is this way? It is how the geography itself protects San Diego. Now, as far as Carmel Valley that I was just mentioning, just to give you orient you here a little bit, this is the downtown area. In Carmel Valley, I mentioned the 56 highway. It's right here.
Okay.
So if I zoom out a little bit further, right, with the north, the most furthest northern part of San Diego being here, the border down here, you'll see that the 56 is right about in the middle. And this is Carmel Valley, if we just zoom in here. So Carmel Valley is this entire area, 5 just to the west of it, 56. Actually, it covers both sides of the 56, so it's really this whole space. And just west of us is a town that a lot of people have heard of, Del Mar, or just southwest of us is La Jolla, which of course a lot of people have heard of.
Sure.
And in this area, if you were to pull up real estate, this is what real estate here looks like. And I'm going to show you the two extremes first. Okay, so yes, there's mega mansions, 13 million, 8 million, 7.5 million. Now, those aren't the most common. You'll see how fast these prices are dropping, and these are all the listings available from most expensive to least. So you see it goes quickly from 13 million here to 3.6. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the condos that exist and the townhouses that exist in Carmel Valley. So sometimes there's going to be people at just an earlier stage of career that want to get into the school district, or people that are retiring and are looking for just a nice area to live in, but need to decrease that price point. So here you can see that you can get into the $400,000 range. It will be attached housing. Now, the bread and butter of Carmel Valley for people looking at this area, it is just so well located, is really going to be from about $1 million to $1.5 million. So if I pull up everything $1 million to $1.5 million, now you're seeing what people for the most part think of when they think of Carmel Valley. These are just nice kind of regular family homes. They're anywhere from 2,500 square feet to maybe 3,500 square feet, 4,000 on the high end. Most are going to be at least 4 bedrooms, and there will be 5-bedroom properties as well. And you get a sense for what those look like, and so if we just jump into really any of these, let's just grab this one on Heatherly for 1.268 million. You get an idea of the architecture style, a lot of stucco. Everything here is stucco for the most part, and kind of just, a very typical house at this price point in Carmel Valley.
And so this is going to be kind of the average price point in Carmel Valley.
When you're getting, so the averages, of course, get stretched with those really high-priced ones that I showed you and those condos. But if somebody came to us and said, "Hey, we're looking for a single-family home, 4 bedrooms in Carmel Valley," that's going to automatically put them pretty much into about $1.2 million price range. Now, you might want to go for the least expensive of those. Okay, that'll bring them maybe down to $1 million. They might want to make it a little bit nicer, get more yard. They might want to step into something a little bit more high-end. That might stretch them into like $1.5 million, maybe even $1.6 million, $1.7 million. But this is generally what the house is going to look like, is actually very similar across all those price points. The only thing that's going to really fluctuate from, say, $1.2 million house to $1.5 million house, maybe a little bit of square footage, but for the most part, you can see these continue to look the same.
Yeah.
Maybe the only thing that you're going to introduce is a pool and maybe a little bit of a larger backyard. But for the most part, exactly what you see on your screen, if you were to drive through Carmel Valley, very consistent, as you can see on the screen here.
And how far is this area? We know it's a large area. We're talking about a valley here. How far is this from the beach?
Yeah, so if we come back to the map, to the beach, depending on where you are in Carmel Valley, 5 to 10 minutes. So it has an extraordinary location. And the beach it's closest to is Del Mar, which is, in my opinion, the most beautiful beach in San Diego. And then you'll see that if I just zoom out a tad bit more, you'll see Torrey Pines, which a lot of people recognize that name from golf. It's one of the most golf courses in the country. And of course, La Jolla is right here. So Carmel Valley was the best performing community through the housing crisis that we saw in 2008, 2009. It had the least amount of fluctuation. And the reason why, and the reason it will forever be one of the most sought after neighborhoods, is the location it has. You have access to the 56, which gets you across the county if you need to get to the more eastern part of the county, up and down the 15 here. You're really close to the ocean, but because you're east of the 5 and not west of the 5, right, the same house in Carmel Valley to say 5 minutes over west of the 5 in Del Mar, you'd be paying an extra $1 million. So it has a really great price point relative to what it's near, right? Because just south of it, La Jolla, again, much more expensive, Del Mar, much more expensive, but you can access all of it so easily, so that really the people that live in Carmel Valley, they use those neighborhoods as almost part of their sub-neighborhood. They have dinner in Del Mar, they have dinner in La Jolla, they access those beaches without even thinking twice because it is so close. And there's just really never going to be a shortage of families, and I'm just going to say moms, that are interested in having their kids in great school districts, that want to get to the beach quickly, that can get to great shopping quickly, that can get to all of the different neighborhoods up and down San Diego easily. Because also, a playground for all of us, regardless of age, in San Diego is the downtown area. That's where we have art, and we have theater, and we have incredible restaurants, and just, the ballpark, and we have concerts, and so much goes on there. This is really, from exit to exit, it's only about 22 minutes. Now, some people, if you live 30 minutes away or what have you, it's really just because of the drive from the freeway exit to your home.
Yeah,
but exit to exit, it's really not far at all. So you'll see Carmel Valley residents making pretty regular use of what's located downtown.
So let's talk a little bit more about downtown, because I would imagine with a lot of the younger working individuals that maybe aren't quite yet at that family juncture in their life, right? So they're more focused on careers and maybe the downtown living, because It is so awesome, right? I mean, you've got all of that in walking distance. So what's a typical housing option and price point if I wanted to live downtown?
Well, so let's just take a look at it here together. So if we get rid of Carmel Valley and we were to say 92101, that's the downtown zip code. It covers every single property in downtown. It's 92101. Again, let's just look at the extremes to start off. So we're going to start off at about the $200,000 range. Now, most of these that are on your screen right now are these are at the Hard Rock Hotel, so it's actually shared property. It's like vacation, so just ignore that.
Okay.
But you see, really, you're going to start off in the $300,000 range just for a dedicated space. Now, notice the size: 400 square feet, 462 square feet, right? So these are studios downtown. You're going to be in the 300s. Now, on the opposite end, pricing high to low. Of course, you could go get some, 2,600, 3,200 square foot penthouses, huge views of the bay, luxury buildings with all the amenities, white glove service. It's, they've been really making an effort at introducing a Manhattan white glove experience in our downtown area.
Yeah.
And so you see that right here. And of course, you can push into this $3 and $4 million range. Now, again, let's go to the bread and butter. When someone says, hey, I'm looking for just a good 2-bedroom, 2-bath downtown, what is that going to look like? So if we were to come in here and filter, say, from 700,000 to $1 million, you'll see that there are plenty of options. Plenty of options. And let's actually just start from low to high. So you're going to have about 1,200, let's call it, square feet at that price range. You're going to be in a nice building. You're going to have options from, say, this high rise here to low rise living.
Yep.
And these buildings have amenities like this one here on 850 Beach Street. This has a pool. This has a gym. It's in really phenomenal walking distance to everything that's located in our Little Italy district. So if you are visiting San Diego and you're trying to get yourself familiar with the neighborhoods, and maybe you're going to live in the suburbs, maybe you're going to live in Carmel Valley or in Scripps Ranch or some other place. But again, we all make use of downtown. You want to see what San Diego offers from a lifestyle perspective. Little Italy is a place you absolutely would want to visit. It has the most bustling, growing, and just creative restaurant scene that San Diego has seen for years. I mean, that's where all the chefs, that's where they're putting in their best concepts. It's awesome. And so this building, for example, on 850 Beach Street, you'd be walking to all of those restaurants, and it's really great lifestyle. And you can see it's right here at $725,000. I think a little more affordable than the Bay, if I'm not mistaken.
Way affordable than the Bay. That right there is going to be at least $1.5 million in San Francisco, and prices in Oakland are going up quite a bit also for something like that downtown.
Yeah. And so, you're not going to be on the highest floor at this price range here in the 700s, right? You're not going to be on the highest floor. You're maybe not going to have completely soaring views of the Bay, but it gets pretty, right? I'm sorry?
It's location though, right? I mean,
You have awesome location.
Yeah.
And there's different locations. There's, say, this building here, it's right on the ballpark. And it has this, it's called The Legend, and it has this amazing common space. You overlook the ballpark. I was just at the ballpark for the Paul McCartney concert. People that live at The Legend were watching the concert for free from their balcony. Nice. Right? So this is the East Village, or our Marina District, which is much more residential, less noise. You don't have all the partying and all that. It's very adult, let's call it. A lot of high-rise living there, to Little Italy that I just mentioned a moment ago. So, we talked about San Diego as a whole having different neighborhoods with different personalities. Downtown itself has a number of different neighborhoods with different personalities depending on what you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, you got great stuff. Look, this wraparound balcony right here at $800,000, and it's you get some water views right there. Look at that, $800,000 with this view.
And it's sunny most of the time, right? I mean, especially except for the occasional fog that rolls in. But I mean, you can take advantage of those great views.
Oh yeah. I mean, right? If it's not 72 degrees, we complain. If it's 78, it's too hot, and if it's 65, it's too cold. Right. So definitely, we have that going for us here. There's no question about it. And I mean, that's a lot of lifestyle right there in a world-class city that if we were in whether it was the Bay Area or in, a place, just the cities I love, a place like New York, a place like the Bay, a place like LA, you can't get it at this price point.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about, you'd mentioned San Marcos, which is going to be kind of a lower price point than Carmel Valley, so maybe more of a starter area for younger families. Is that right?
Well, it's really growing quickly. In fact, I just told my team that I really would like to find an investment property myself in San Marcos. It's growing quickly. So again, if we focus in on what San Diego is, it's this that's right here in front of you. But north, right up here, you have this area. And this area, for the most part, was kind of detached from the rest of the county. It was sort of, like north county, north San Diego.
Yeah.
And San Marcos, for whatever reason, is where a lot of the investment has come in. So these people up here, they didn't have the great restaurants. They didn't have culinary experiences. They didn't have like bars and nightlife with more than just simply some pitchers and drafts on tap, but rather like, just something fun and new and good concepts. And what happened is they invested really well into their schools. So San Marcos has some of the better schools also in San Diego County. It is not nearly as expensive as a Carmel Valley or a lot of the other neighborhoods along the 56 corridor, like Del Sur, Forest Ranch, Santa Luz, Crosby. These are all really great neighborhoods, Scripps Ranch. When you go up here to this kind of north part of San Diego, you do have Carlsbad right here along the water. But remember, anytime you get to the water, it's going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
And then right here you have San Marcos, where all of a sudden you have a lot of great investment in terms of, mixed use living, a lot of great development in awesome retail and restaurants and so on. So
a lot of business growth, and then obviously the housing that always kind of accompanies that, right?
Absolutely. So you could see right here, if I get rid of downtown. So San Marcos, and by the way, this is San Diego Homefinder.com if you want to browse anything in San Diego. That's San Diego Home Finder. So let's go to San Marcos. You have everything from literally like way entry-level housing. Okay, these are manufactured homes at $128,000 on one extreme. To the other extreme, you're going to actually have, ignore this $7.5 million, just don't even look at it. But on the other extreme, you're going to have homes that are pushing right about $1 million. Okay, you see how quickly we went from 7.5 to 2.5 to 1.5 to 1, right? I mean, there's like 3 properties like that. For the most part, your high end
right there.
Sorry?
You're down below $1 million, just like that, right?
Oh yeah. For the most part, San Marcos is going to top out right about 900,000. And you recognize these homes are very much like the homes I just showed you in Carmel Valley. Same style.
Yep.
Same type of living, very suburban, family oriented. It looks a lot like it, but you'll notice that you have about 4, maybe 500,000, 600,000 even off the price. So San Marcos has become a place that a lot of families that are just feeling priced out or pressured by just not wanting to do those higher price points, saying, hey, you know what, there's a good life for us in San Diego under $1 million, which of course there has to be. Well, here it is. And so you're seeing a lot of investment in San Marcos. And you get really, this is kind of the bread and butter pricing right here. And there's just a lot of it. And there's really, again, I could be showing you Carmel Valley. It just has a different sticker on it, right? About $1 million less now that
I mean, those are beautiful looking homes. They look like they're newer. Some of the square footage is a little bit higher than what we looked at Carmel Valley, and obviously we're talking about $500,000-$600,000 less. So, I guess the trade-off is, if somebody was commuting downtown from San Marcos, what would they expect to have on that?
Yep, that's exactly it. Like if you're going to go from San Marcos to downtown, you're going to have to give yourself an hour.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's an hour with no traffic on a straight shot, but even San Diego has traffic now. And it's, our traffic, the nice thing about ours is it's far more predictable than what you might have in LA, for example, where, And you could have traffic at midnight, right, on a Sunday. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know how, I
Yeah.
don't know why, I just don't get it.
I've hit
But
traffic at 3 in the morning in LA before.
it's
It's
the
crazy.
craziest thing in the world. In San Diego, we know when it's going to occur, but it is, of course, that morning rush hour, that afternoon rush hour. So yeah, you're going to have to give yourself at least an hour. So most people in San Diego work 56 north. Okay, they're going to work in Carlsbad, where there's a lot of industry, tons of industry here in Carlsbad. And then there's a lot of industry here in this Poway, Rancho Bernardo area, as well as the Carmel Valley area. And really, that's about where you're going to be. If for the most part, unless you love being in the car, if you're living south of the 56, excuse me, if you're going to be working south of the 56, then San Marcos, you might find a challenge.
And it's interesting because it's all a matter of perspective, right, Dan? Because
well, yeah,
we're
you
talking
guys,
about the Bay Area here. You know,
That's
you coming from the East Bay and working in the South Bay, you're looking at an hour and a half to 2 hours each way. So somebody coming to San Diego and saying, heck, that's maybe an hour at the most, right?
Yes,
it's
so
very,
right.
very doable, you know, if the price gets you that much more.
Well, you know, you remind me right now of something that I don't know if we had planned to talk about this, but I just think it's really important. Everything is so relative. And so when you're coming out here to San Diego for a purchase, you know, I think of times when we have a listing of a home, maybe on a busy road, and we get someone that comes in from New York and looks at it and goes, this is wonderful. And I'm like, you know, we're just thinking, oh my God, like, thank God you're here. Keep in mind this when we're representing the seller. We're thinking, thank God you're here, because to us, this is just awful. Like there's no one's going to buy this home at this price. Right? This is a freeway behind us. Like we think it's loud. So San Diego buying tips. Avoid power lines, avoid busy roads. If you have a busy road behind your house, maybe you think it's totally maybe you think it's okay. Maybe you think it's actually quieter than where you're coming from or what you're used to, because there's no question that the Bay Area is much more, it's louder, it's bigger. In San Diego, that is a killer. Now, it's all about how you get into the deal. So if you're buying, if it's the right house, you love it, and you're buying it for 10% less than the one across the street that's not on the road, great. But you cannot buy it for the same price, because if you do, you're going to be punished on the way out.
So so you're saying on the resale side of it, even if you can put up with it for the time that you're there, if you don't buy it at a discount, you're going to get hit on the resale side of it.
Without question. Now, if you buy it right, then you're okay. I mean, some people do buy and sell these houses, but eventually what normally happens is somebody comes in from out of the area. They don't realize how sensitive San Diegans are to a busy road. They buy it, they love it, they don't even notice it. They enjoy life, and then it comes time to sell for whatever reason, they're moving on, and they just can't, you know, they go through a very frustrating period of a very long sales cycle because they just cannot accept that it's that big of a deal to have a busy road behind your house, until they finally are just put into submission by the market. They reduce their price enough and they create a deal for somebody. So if you're buying the deal, meaning about 10% off of the neighbors that don't have the busy road, you're fine. If you're buying at the same price, you will be punished on the way out.
Yeah. It's all about knowing the facts up front, right? And saying, okay, we're good with it. We understand what the results might look like.
Yeah, and you know, as we say in real estate, you make your money or lose your money on the way into the deal. That's right. If you buy it right, you're fine. Just make sure that you understand that we are a lot more sensitive to that in San Diego than a lot of other bigger markets would be.
Good to know. Dan, take us a little bit more south. So let's say, for example, we kind of talked about more of the affordable housing up north, San Marcos area. Take us down south. I think you mentioned Chula Vista.
So let's go to basically San Marcos is the Chula Vista of the north, and so let's go to Chula Vista, which is just right here. And you'll notice it's actually fairly close to the downtown area. It has great proximity to everything that's going on up here, and so that's a nice thing about Chula Vista. Also, we do have a lot of like just good hospitals and really good food, actually, and restaurant. There's a lot going on in Chula Vista. And by the way, this is where I grew up. I grew up in Chula Vista. I lived there for about the first 18 years, or not, the first 15 years of my life, and I went to high school there. So this is Chula Vista. You'll notice that the border Tijuana is right there. But for the most part, when you're thinking of Chula Vista, you're up in this area right here. And particularly what makes Chula Vista interesting is normally for the majority of San Diego, for the majority of the country, west is more expensive, meaning that you're getting to the ocean, or on the East Coast, right, is more expensive because you're on the ocean. Chula Vista is the opposite. Chula Vista developed the west side of the city much earlier than what's out here in the east. And so this west side's a lot older, a lot smaller, a lot tighter, a little more rundown. This east side is almost like a Carmel Valley. It's like a Carmel Valley of what we call the South Bay. So in Chula Vista, the east side is actually more expensive than the west side, which is counter to what we see.
Yeah, that's opposite, right? To, you know, what you normally see.
Absolutely. And so giving you an idea of what you might find here in Chula Vista from a housing perspective. So Chula Vista, you're going to have, again, you actually have $3 million, $2 million, $1.4 million properties. Holy smokes. Huh. I sold this property years ago. It's back on the market.
Did they make some money on it?
They're selling it for less than what they bought it for. By the way, I did not represent that buyer. I represented that seller.
Yeah.
So interesting. So anyway, right about exactly what they bought it for. Anyhow, so you'll see that you have actually some really awesome high-end property. You have a lot of high-end people here. Sometimes those high-end people actually are from right here. So this is where this is where their businesses are. This is where they work. And this is where they live.
And so are they Americans with business in the Tijuana area?
Most of the time Mexican. Yeah. Well, no, mostly Mexican. Mostly Mexican businessmen who don't want to live in Tijuana and live up here and live in San Diego.
Interesting.
And so you see, that's not the most common that you're going to find in Chula Vista as a whole, but when it comes to these very high-end properties, the wealthiest in Chula Vista tends to be the case. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have manufactured homes. You have, right here, if we just pop in here, you have condos, right? So you could get into the Chula Vista market again in like that 300, even high $200,000 range. It's going to be small. It's going to be tight. Here you have an example of what I was talking about on the west side of the county, or of Chula Vista, excuse me, of the city. So west side Chula Vista, remember I told you it was older, needs work and needs renovation. So that's a good example of it right there on G Street. While the new side of Chula Vista, the east side, would look something more like this right here.
Yeah. That's a big difference.
Yeah, and you'll notice that these price points are very similar to San Marcos price points. Once you're starting to get houses that are, you know, just good kind of family homes like this. So really it comes down to, do you envision your life, say from Del Mar on south, or do you envision your life from about Del Mar on north? That might push you to San Marcos versus Chula Vista if you're not going to position yourself right in the middle, which would be, again, Carmel Valley, but at a much higher price point.
Got it.
It's a little bit of an orientation of what we have going on.
That's great. I mean, that's a really good overview of some of the markets and some of the price points. And I know you mentioned earlier, Dan, that you guys don't see a lot of retirees coming in. I mean, obviously, you know, retirees are looking to take the money that they've made from their house and looking to take it elsewhere, which usually means they're going east somewhere, right? They're going into the desert or maybe out of state. But for people who maybe are, you know, want to be closer to their kids, grandkids, that type of thing, are there, you know, are there areas that are more open to retirement communities per se that seem to be a little bit more popular if somebody is considering a retirement option? Yeah,
La Costa. I mean, so don't get me wrong. We have a ton of retired people in San Diego.
Yeah.
The typical retiree out there is sometimes trying to make their money go as far as it could possibly go on fixed income. So the people that are in that position, San Diego's not going to, you know, and it's not just San Diego, California is not going to be their typical, you know, where they're going to gravitate toward. I would imagine most of them are not going to retire in the Bay. It's just an affordability factor with fixed income. Having said that, we have some huge, sprawling very high end, like really just big time retirement communities, assisted living communities that are just the concept that these people keep pushing to gets better and better and better to the point where like I want to go live there. I mean, it looks like summer camp, right? For adults. There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
So La Costa, which is the south part of Carlsbad. So you'll see La Costa, I want to get it to pop up. Well, it's not popping up in terms of the name, but La Costa is right here. Okay, so there you see La Costa Ave. La Costa, which is officially in the city of Carlsbad, a lot of retirees, a lot. And there's tons of condos, attached properties, official retirement properties like the Glen. That's a huge retirement community. It's called the Glen.
Okay.
If you want to look into that. Or just people that live in their own little condo, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, little kind of small cottagey type places. La Costa has a lot of it, alongside with the Glen is opening their new facility in a neighborhood called Scripps Ranch. Scripps Ranch is right here. And Scripps Ranch is going to have the new Glen. It's over 1,000 living quarters, right? So 1,000 homes or rooms.
Yeah.
And then again, this is a high-end facility with, total complete pampering of every kind you could think of. It's gonna be over 1,000 rooms in the new Glen. That's gonna be right here off the 15. Very well located, very central to just getting across and through to the county everywhere you'd want to be. And then you see a lot of them also in Rancho Bernardo. Rancho Bernardo, Poway tends to have a lot of retirees. La Jolla has one of the most well-known and most expensive, of course, retirement houses, retirement facilities in San Diego. But again, you're talking about an over $10K a month expense to be a part of that facility. So for the most part, outside of kind of the wealthier retirees, you're going to see La Costa, Rancho Bernardo, Scripps Ranch.
And like you said, Dan, some of those places, the master plan communities, 55 plus active adult that they're building are unbelievable. I mean, the activities.
There's a lot of 55 and up.
The amenities.
There is. And let's not ignore the other retirees, right? Because not all retirees are in a state of life where they're needing a retirement home. A lot of retirees are very young and healthy, 50, 60, 70, and they're having fun.
Sure.
So if you take my grandparents, for example, they've moved here. They've retired, and they live right here on 6th Avenue, the park right in front of them, beautiful condo building. And their life is theater and museums and walking through the park and going to restaurants and walking to the coffee shop. And, it's like their own little mini Manhattan style life that they've developed for themselves here. And you have a lot of that. So it's interesting where the downtown area is the biggest mix of everything. Downtown, you're going to have just as many people that are 25 years old, out of school, having fun, going crazy and partying, to people that have then left that lifestyle, gone to Carmel Valley, gone to San Marcos, raised a family, gotten older, the kids are out of the house, and now they're back to downtown to have fun again. They're having fun as adults. It's a different type of fun, a much more responsible fun. But they are nevertheless wanting to stay young and wanting to get into a more cultured environment. So downtown is absolutely offering that for retirees. And there are quiet neighborhoods within downtown where you don't hear the bars, you don't hear the noise. It's really just a wonderful living experience. So that's, my wife and I, that's what we talk about, where we would want to be when we're retired.
Talk to us a little bit about some of the growth in industry and employment. Who are some of the major players now that are, hiring or maybe, moving, increasing their operations within the San Diego area? What are you seeing on that front?
Yeah, well, the biotech industry is still extremely active here. The tech industry, you have Sony, you have Hewlett Packard, you have the aerospace industry with BAE Systems and Northrop Grumman. Qualcomm is, of course, a huge employer in San Diego, and an extremely important employer in San Diego. The military keeps, I mean, there's something like 250,000 military households in San Diego County. And so the military, they're always moving people in, moving people out, and that creates a huge amount of activity in our real estate market. So those are the biggest industries for us. It's going to be biotech, tech, aerospace, and the military.
Awesome. And there's a lot of growth, right? So tech certainly has had a lot of growth. And like you said, we see people coming back and forth from San Diego, even if it's not necessarily permanent. Maybe it's kind of a project, type of a situation, but, we're seeing San Diego pop up quite a bit more.
Yeah, and it's, even in like in the human genome space, a company called Illumina, publicly traded, they now have their second building that's just gone up in a very prominent location. And so you have an educated marketplace here. You have a number of universities, including one of the, we have our own UCSD, just like you guys have Berkeley, one of the better UC schools.
Yeah.
It's very focused on the sciences. UCSD is
great school.
So there's just a lot of that, and the professional services, of course, are the other major industry here. So everything from CPAs to attorneys to real estate agents, of course, to just everything that falls under professional services industry. But the exciting thing, I think, is the expansion in tech that we're seeing in San Diego, where you have some of these larger companies that are starting to build campuses here. And the recruiting wars are just crazy, man. I mean, telling you, on a weekly basis, we're losing people to San Jose, we're getting people from San Jose, and it's just like this, it looks like this huge mix-up.
There's a shortage everywhere, especially, I think, in California. So, and as you're seeing down there with science being such a, heavy influence, it's kind of the science meets tech, right? And you're starting to see a lot of that, hit as well. Give me the top, you've got kids, give me the top 5 things that you guys like to do in San Diego. Somebody who's coming into town and said, Dan, give me the top 5. What are they?
Well, so what do the kids love? The kids love the beach. They love Legoland. God, and Legoland's not my favorite, but the kids, for whatever reason.
Legoland you got to do once, and then you're pretty much done with it. You're like, okay, I did it once, but I don't think I'm
Yeah, the adults get over it quick, and for whatever reason, the kids get obsessed with it. They love it. Yeah. We love going to Balboa Park, which was this right here. Look, it's one of the gems that San Diego has. It's like our central park. It's filled with museums and restaurants and just really awesome, fun stuff there. The Children's Museum, something that the kids love to do. They love going downtown to the Children's Museum, and it's fun too, being a suburb family, raising our kids in the suburb. We go downtown and we go to the Children's Museum, but as we're walking there, just the things my kids will say, like they'll see different people and smells and sounds and ambulances, and they get so stimulated by it all. It's really a lot of fun. But that farmers markets, I mean, the kids love going to the golf course. That's normal stuff, kid stuff, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they just love simple things too, right? Like the movie theater.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I love most about San Diego is the tacos, because the Mexican food is just unbelievable. That's worth the trip in itself, in my opinion. We do have really great Mexican food, and it's a baffling thing, man, because you could even go to, a place like New York City or San Francisco. I don't want to say San Francisco because I don't know well enough, because I've been there on a limited basis. But New York City, you could go to this culinary mecca of the world. They nail every cuisine. I mean, they could do Indian amazingly well. Thai, boom, French,
they got
Italian,
it.
all of it. Right?
Italian, they got it. No one can do Mexican. It's simple, but no one seems to be able to do it. San Diego does it. But for whatever reason, Mexican food's a challenge to find any good Mexican food anywhere outside of Mexico and maybe San Diego.
Yeah.
LA, sort of. They kind of got it too.
It all depends on where you go. We've got some hit or miss places up here. There is some good stuff, but it's definitely not, the influence that you have down where you guys are at. So
interesting though, right? I mean, it's all these different cuisines. You guys have incredible food in San Francisco of all kinds.
Oh yeah.
For whatever reason, good Mexican is just hard to come by.
Yeah. Dan, anything else that you want to talk about that people should know about about San Diego if they're considering making a move that direction?
You know, what you really need to do is just come out here and explore, have a really authentic conversation with somebody. If we are privileged enough to build a relationship with you, that would be wonderful. And just a really candid conversation on what you're looking for,
Sure.
what you're not, what you like, what you don't, what's important. And then let's get out there and look at real estate, but let's also get out there and look at the city. What will the living experience be like? What will it be like when you wake up in the morning on a Sunday and you're looking for your coffee or for the brunch spot, or what those lifestyle decisions are going to be, I think are just as important as the real estate itself. And make sure that you're with somebody that's going to have the patience, and not just the patience that they're trying to get through it, but actually enjoy going through it with you because they love to showcase the city. And they're really, be wary if you ever feel like you're, you know, they're trying to kind of get you into a certain neighborhood. Why? It's a great neighborhood for everybody. It just depends on who you are, matching your personality to the personality of the different neighborhoods we have.
And it's all about what you're looking for in your quality of life, activities, different things like that. And that's
a series of really unique little towns. And we just find the right one that makes sense for you, that might be also located, right? We're not all one-dimensional. So I like doing things in various parts of San Diego. So I've positioned myself where I can easily access all those. And so you just need the same thing, and have fun with it.
And it usually starts with a phone call with your team. And then at that point, kind of, doing a needs analysis, what they're looking for, what's important to them. And then I assume you guys are open to, kind of hosting for an afternoon or, that sort of thing if somebody wanted to make a trip down, right?
Oh, of course. And again, it's actually enjoying the process of doing that. But yes, we'd love to be able to do it. There's a reason that we've been recognized by the Inc. 5000 now 3 years in a row among the top, among the fastest growing companies in the country. The award, and there's all kinds of awards, right? The Wall Street Journal top 100 teams in the country, all that. But the one I'm proud of, the most proud of, is San Diego Business Journal naming us one of the top places to work, because there's a difference between just selling houses and putting up numbers versus the experience that people get when they're working with people that like what they do. And that just resonates when you love what you do. And that's why it's so much fun for us to come into work. And then when you're loving work, when you love what you do, when work doesn't feel like work, that translates very directly in the experience. Oh yeah, the people that we work with, we get to have a relationship with here in business and help them find homes or sell homes. They see it, they feel it, because that just translates into everything. So we'll be honored to be able to build a relationship with you if we can. If we can just simply answer a question, we'd be happy to do that too. And you just let us know how we can help.
Dan, I appreciate it. So again, Dan Beer with the Beer Home Team with eXp Realty in sunny San Diego. Dan, appreciate your time today. This has been great information, and we'll catch up soon and maybe do another event in 6 months or so, kind of recap on where we're at with the market.
All right, my man. Thank you.
All right. Take care.